y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to my channel. I'm procrastinating on my homework right now, and so I thought what better way to procrastinate than to film a YouTube video. So please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you've not already and give this video a big thumbs up at the end. Whoop whoop. Okay, so by the time this video gets posted it will be November. Oh my gosh, October and really all of the months went by so quickly. But November is National Adoption Awareness Month, and if y'all remember from last year, I did a lot of videos about adoption for this month specifically, so that's what I'm going to be doing again this year. So I'm really excited for some of the things that I have planned for this month, so I'm just going to get straight into it. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about my hospital experience
once again.
So if you have been following me on my channel for a couple of months now, you know what's been going on. If not, basically I was hospitalized at the end of the summer for blood clots. I had to get them removed. I'm fine now. Recovery's going super well. But the reason why I related it to adoption is because of why I got the blood clots. To start off, when I had blood clots, I was on a medication called a blood thinner, which
thins out your blood.
And it also, if you have like really tiny clots, helps thin out the clots. And it's just a way to prevent more clots from happening. The most common blood thinner you'll probably ever hear is called heparin. And I was put on heparin, and one thing that happened while I was on heparin was my platelet count went down. If you don't know what platelets are, I will define platelets for you because I know that they help factor clotting, but I want to make sure I don't give you the wrong definition. Platelets are small colorless cells that form clots and stop or prevent bleeding. So that is what platelets are. They help clot your blood and prevent bleeding. So my issue was that they were all going down, which is a bad thing because even though I did have clots, I still want to be able to have my blood get clotted if I cut myself, because platelets help form scabs and so that you're just not bleeding all the time when you get cut. So that was my problem, and we couldn't figure out why for a while. Don't worry, I did get switched off that medication. And then when we were figuring out why I was getting blood clots, there are some known genetic disorders that cause blood clots. But since I have no idea anything about my genetic history, we had no idea if it was because of that, so they took so many vials of blood to try to figure out why I was clotting. So I had to go through that kind of not knowing. I mean, I always knew I didn't know anything about my medical history, filling out medical forms, as I'm sure most of the adoptees watching this video probably know are very big hassle and they're annoying. I was definitely like going back and forth between, thoughts about that. And then going back to the platelets thing, platelets are made in your bone marrow, and I'm sure you've heard of bone marrow before, and so we couldn't figure out why they were dropping. My hematologist, which is the blood doctor, was contemplating the idea of taking a bone marrow sample from me to see why my bone marrow wasn't producing my platelets and why my platelet numbers weren't going up. Once I heard that, I started overthinking all of these weird possible combinations that could happen, like my bone marrow biopsy comes back negative and I need a bone marrow transplant, and what would happen if I need a transplant? Well, I would have to find a genetic match for me,
And I don't have a genetic match for me here.
and so we might have to reach out to someone in China, and I could meet someone that's actually biologically related to me who would have to come all the way to the US to donate their bone marrow, and they might not even consent to donating their bone marrow. And so I was going through all of these different scenarios in my head, and in one of my last videos last year I mentioned that I had a potential twin named Kylie, and so I was making sure my mom was updating her mom about all of this. I mean, not only for the possible genetic blood clotting disorder, but because if I needed a bone marrow transplant, she's like one of the closest known possible genetic relatives I have, so I wanted her to be aware. And so it was just like a whole bunch of things, and it made me really emphasize more with the thought of not knowing anything about your genetic history. Definitely got me thinking about a lot of things that I wish I knew about myself that I don't. Even with taking DNA tests like 23andMe, I still feel like there's so many things I don't know about myself. Luckily, I did not need a bone marrow biopsy. It turned out I was allergic to the heparin, and so the heparin is what was making me drop my platelets. But that brings me to my other point of we don't know why I was allergic to heparin, because usually in order to be allergic to a medication, you would have had to have taken it before. That's how you find out allergies to things. You eat peanuts, you have an allergic reaction, you find out you're allergic to peanuts. I was only at the orphanage for 11 months. I don't really know why they would give a baby heparin. And once I was with my mom for 19 straight years, I've never received heparin before. So that is still a mystery. But luckily, all the blood genetic tests came back negative. It was not a genetic blood clotting disorder, which I was so grateful for. But yeah, it kind of took me on a roller coaster of different emotions of thinking about all the bad things and then thinking about the good things, and then well, what would happen if. There's a lot that goes into adoption trauma and things like that, but I think my biggest thing during my time at the hospital was the whole genetic factors, and just that I don't know anything about my genetics, and I wish there was better ways for me to figure things out about my genetics. But I mean, right now we have the technology we have. It's a lot better than before. But yeah, so I mean, it kind of prepares me for future things that happen to me, but at the same time, it's kind of scary. So yeah. Okay, well, that was all I had for you. So thanks for listening to me talk randomly about my genetic issues. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to come back to my channel on Wednesdays, and I'll be posting some hopefully fun, hopefully educational videos related to adoption topics for Adoption Awareness Month. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye!